Hello petals, my name is Anais. I am a womb witch, a Rahani energy teacher, and a plant alchemist. Under Unfurling Alchemy, I guide women in reconnecting with their power, awakening their essence, and step into sovereignty. In these episodes, I am going to approach topics around womb mysteries, energy healing, and cyclic living. Hello petals, this episode might be a little bit controversial, so bear with me whilst I'm walking you through my thought process. In this episode, I want to talk to you about why I do not believe that nervous system regulation should be the end destination of your healing journey. I believe that somehow within the wellness industry, we are sold regulation as the destination. But what if the destination was something much bigger than that? What if the actual goal was to feel fully alive, to have access to the whole panel of our emotions, and to have the tools to bring yourself back to center when life moves you? Not to stop being moved, but to know how to find yourself back to center. Because I believe that somewhere along the way, the wellness world confused those two things. It took the tools that were designed to give you access to more of your experience, and somehow we framed them as tools to protect you from it. Regulation became the goal. Calm became the measure of how healed you are. And slowly, without anyone quite saying it out loud, the woman who never loses it became the goal. The woman who is, never cracked open, never undone, never leaves her center, always composed. But here's what I have noticed is that there is a particular kind of flatness that lives underneath this kind of artificial calm. And flatness is not healing. It is numbing that learned the right language. It is numbing with better marketing. The wellness/spiritual industry, and I say this as someone who lives in it and works inside it, has a particular genius for taking real and vulnerable things and packaging them up in ways that somehow completely misses the point. And for me, nervous system regulation is part of that. Now, don't get me wrong, nervous system regulation is real and it's important, right? I want to stretch that. I'm not saying that you shouldn't care about nervous system regulation. I'm simply reframing where this should sit within your journey. And that is as the tool, not as the destination. The window of tolerance is real and a really useful concept. Co-regulation is real. Learning to self-soothe is absolutely massive. It's a massive thing that I do with my clients, in that self-understanding of how to come back to yourself when you have been dysregulated. To have practices that help you find your ground. And all of that is genuinely super valuable work. But here's what happens. Those tools, which were designed to give you access to more of your experience, somehow within communication and marketing packages and programs sold, got reframed as tools for managing the experience, for keeping the difficult stuff at a comfortable distance, for making sure nothing gets too messy or too loud or too much. And the goal shifted without anyone announcing it really, from feeling more to feeling less, from expanding your capacity to hold your experience to shrinking your experience down to what your capacity can comfortably hold, right? So that you can stay comfortable. And that is a very different thing. The resolved or that shift is a particular kind of woman that I see a lot in the healing and spiritual spaces at the moment. And I would say that with real compassion because I have been her. She is calm, she is measured, she speaks carefully and moves slowly, and nothing seems to knock her off her center. She has the tools and she uses them. When something difficult happens, when something difficult arises, she knows exactly what to do. She breathes into it, she taps out of it, she shakes it through her body. She does the thing that moves the energy. And from the outside, she looks like someone who has done the work, and to an extent, she has. But from the inside, something else is happening. There is like a flatness. There is a managed, contained, carefully regulated version of being alive that looks like healing and feels like something is quietly missing. Like the volume has been toned down on everything. Not just the hard things, everything. The grief, yes, but also the ecstasy, the rage, yes, but also the aliveness, the fear, yes, but also the joy that comes in the moments when you let yourself be fully present to something beautiful and messy and complicated and on full volume. All of it turned down, all of it managed, all of it held at a carefully comfortable, regulated distance. And yeah, I just want to name clearly that that is not healing, that is suppression within a wellness vocabulary. And that is the same old disconnection from the feeling. It's just arrived from a different direction and addressed in much better language and yeah, much better marketing. So here's the destination I want you to sit with. There is a difference between being able to feel something fully and not be destroyed by it and not feel it at all. The first one is what healing actually builds: the capacity to be in the grief without drowning, to be in the rage without burning everything down, to be in the fear without being consumed by it, to be in the ecstasy without needing to immediately manage it back to something more comfortable. That is what regulation is supposed to give you, not the absence of the feeling, the capacity to be in it. Because you have this unshakable knowing that you are able to bring yourself back, and therefore you are able to be in it. You are able to really be in the full experience because you trust your inner capacity to bring yourself back. You know that you have the tools to bring yourself back from every and any situation, and therefore you have the freedom of exploring the full range of your emotions. The second one is what a lot of the wellness culture has accidentally produced. Women who are very good at moving through their feelings before those feelings have actually been felt. Who know the technique so well that they can shift the energy before the energy had a chance to say what it came to say. Who have become so efficient at returning to calm that they skip the part where the feeling actually lands. And the cost of that is enormous, because your feelings are not inconveniences to be processed and moved out from as quickly as possible. They are invaluable information. They are the language your body uses to tell you what is true, when it needs attention, when it needs grieving, when it needs celebrating, when it needs change. And if you are moving through them before you have actually heard them, you are not healing, you are managing. And managing is not the same as living. And I want to bring here a little bit of personal story, because I want to just really again here say that everything that I share with you has come from like an embodied place. Those are stories that I have gone through in my own life and then have needed to find my way through, and therefore then supported other women in their journey on similar paths. So there was a period in my healing journey where I had all the tools and I was good. I was good at using them, right? Was really good at using them. So when something came up, when a feeling arose, when something activated me or triggered me, I knew exactly what to do. I had the practices and the techniques and the understanding of how to move the energy. I was an energy practitioner. And so I did, efficiently, consistently. I felt something come up and I moved through it. And for a while, that felt like progress. That felt like, oh my God, I've got this. Yeah, I've got this. I am calm. I have inner peace. As soon as the slightest little thing comes to annoy me, I know what to do it. Triggered, I'm doing this. Like I had all of the techniques, like from shaking to breathing to tapping through energy healing to all of those things, right? And it felt like progress. For a while, it felt like progress. It felt like such evidence of how far I had come. I was no longer swept away by my intense feelings. I was no longer reactive because I had the tools and I used them, and I came back to regulation quickly and cleanly. But then something shifted in my awareness. A quiet recognition that arrived not, again, dramatically, but just suddenly in this, oh, okay. I was missing the goal. I was missing the gold. Because in my efficiency at moving through those feelings, I was not actually being in the feeling. I was arriving at the edge of something real, something that had come up with information and texture and depth, and I was immediately reaching for the tool that would help me move it along. I was so focused on this destination of perceived calm and peace that I was skipping the entire journey of feeling itself. And the journey is where everything lives. The grief that needs to actually be grieved, not processed and moved through, but sat with and felt and allowed to do whatever grief needs to do. The anger that has something specific and important to say, if you give it enough space to say it before you tap it out. The fear that is pointing at something real in your life that needs your attention, not your regulation technique. And I had become so good at regulation that I was using it to bypass the very experience I was supposed to make more accessible. And that is when I understood something that really changed how I work, both on myself and with the women I support. The tool is not the point. The tool is necessary and great and invaluable, but the tool is not the point. The feeling is the point. The tool exists to give you enough ground to actually be in the feeling without being swept away by it. Not to help you avoid it, not to move it along before it has finished speaking, but to hold you steady enough that you can actually be there, present to what it is trying to tell you. That is what regulation is actually for. Regulation is the vehicle, not the destination. It gives you the capacity to feel more, not less, to access the full range of your beautiful human experience without being destroyed by it, to be in the grief and the ecstasy and the rage and the tenderness and the love and the fear and the aliveness without needing to immediately escape to somewhere more comfortable. Think of it as this. If you have never learned to swim, the ocean is terrifying, right? You cannot go near it. The depth of it, the power of it, the unpredictability of it, maybe the temperature of it, all of that keeps you on the shore. And the shore is safe, but it's also limited. You cannot access what the ocean holds from the shore. Learning to swim does not mean that you will never feel the power of the ocean. It means that you can go into. You can dive under. You can let the waves move through you rather than knock you over. You have the capacity to be in the depth rather than managing yourself from the edge of it. That is what regulation gives you. Not distance from your experience, but actual access to it. And the destination, the actual destination of all of this work is not a woman who is always calm. It is a woman who is fully alive, who can be moved without being swept away, who can feel the full spectrum of a human experience without needing to immediately manage any of it back to something more comfortable. The destination, the goal is a full life, fully felt, all of it, even the hard parts, even the parts that regulation wants to smooth over, even the parts that the wellness world would rather you process quickly and just move on. So, for me, the woman who has done the work and what she actually looks like, she is not the woman who never loses it. She is the woman who loses it sometimes and knows how to find her way back. Not because she has suppressed everything that might make her lose it, but because she has built enough of a relationship with herself that losing it is not the end. It's not the end of the world, and she knows it. She knows that it is just a moment, and she knows how to come back home from it. She is not the woman who is never moved. She is the woman who can be fully moved and not destroyed by it, who can let the grief actually land, who can let the beauty actually reach her, who can be in the rage without burning her whole life down and then taking a one-way ticket to Bali, but who can be in the fear without it running the show, who can be in the fear and do it anyhow. She is not the woman who has transcended her feelings. She is the woman who has learned to be in them, all of them. The uncomfortable ones, the overwhelming ones, the ones that do not fit neatly into the wellness vocabulary of the healing, what the healing space is apparently supposed to look like. She is not always calm. She is sometimes a mess. She is sometimes undone by something. She is sometimes raw and unregulated and very much in it. And she has enough trust in herself and in the process that she does not immediately reach for the technique that will fix it. She lets herself be in it. She lets it be there. She stays with it. She follows it to wherever it needs to go, and then she finds her way back. That is what doing the work to me actually looks like. Not the performance of having arrived, the ongoing, honest, sometimes uncomfortable practice of being fully present to your own experience, all of it, without managing it, without bypassing it, without using the tools to avoid the very thing the tool was supposed to help you access. Regulation is not the destination. It is what makes the destination possible. The goal, the destination, is a life full of feelings that you can eat and devour like this juicy peach in all of the flavors, from grief to ecstasy and rage to tenderness and fear to aliveness, and all of it not managed into something more comfortable, not in brackets processed before it has been felt, because you can't actually process things if you're not feeling them. Not regulate back to calm before it has a chance to say what it has come to say. So if you have been using your tools to avoid your feelings rather than to access them, this is the invitation for you to pause, to put the technique down for a moment, to let the feeling actually land, to stay in it long enough to hear what it's trying to tell you. Because the gold is not the calm that comes after the feeling. The gold is the feeling itself. And you cannot find it if you keep moving it through, if you keep moving through it before you have actually been in it. Thank you so much for listening to this shorter episode, My Petals, and I see you in the next one.